Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I'm coming back to you once again. This time, I'm going to go over to the Independent, and this is about a story in the crime section. It says she was attacked by a masked intruder who disguised his voice, but the person who came to her rescue was the villain all along. I will list the article writer and all of the details in the description as I always do. But it says in the early morning hours of New Year's Day 2021, a Georgia woman woke up to a masked intruder in her bedroom. What first seemed like a nightmare to Morgan Metzer quickly became real when the shadowy figure in the doorway suddenly lunged and attacked her. The intruder, who disguised his voice to sound like Batman, yes, Batman, apparently, restrained her with zip ties, beat her, and SA'd her before leaving her on the porch with a pillowcase over her head. A short time later, the attacker left Morgan's ex-husband, Rodney Rod Mitzer, arrived at the house in what appeared to be an act of heroism, but investigators soon uncovered shocking revelations that left them questioning whether Mitzer was the hero of the story or the villain. Morgan's harrowing attack is the focus of this week's all-new 48-hour episode, The Batman Intruder, which airs at 10/9 Central, Saturday on CBS and Paramount. Now, at the time of this, recording, it is already aired, so I would definitely go look at it and check it out if you're into that type of thing like crime. The night of the attack, deputies with the Cherokee Sheriff's Department or office, responded to Morgan's home in Canton, Georgia on the morning of January the 1st, 2021. They received a 911 call from her ex-husband who said he had discovered his wife tied up on the porch, according to an August 2021 release from the Office of the District Attorneys for the Blue Ridge Judicial Circuit. She recalled the harrowing attack to the authorities. "I saw the shadow of a man's body standing there, all in black and just lit up by the light in the background," she said. "He had a mask on. After the man jumped on her, that's when he started pistol whipping her, or pistol whipping me," as she explained, Morgan said. Okay, and this is a picture, I assume, of her after the fact of the ordeal. Yes, it is. So it goes on to say, as Morgan struggled, the intruder growled at her, "You're going to regret this. You've done really wrong now." She recalled him saying, adding that he kept trying to make his voice low and gravelly. "It was the sound of Batman's voice," she said. The man then used zip ties to constrain her wrists before essaying her and strangling her nearly unconscious twice, she said. Morgan was left on the back porch, which was connected to the bedroom, with a pillowcase over her head. The ex-husband to the rescue. It says Morgan was on the porch for about 40 minutes when she heard someone walking towards her. She worried the assailant had come back to finish her off, but this time she heard a familiar voice. It was her ex-husband. "Oh, honey, what happened?" Morgan said. He said to her. The former couple had finalized their divorce just 2 weeks before the attack, ending a 20-year marriage. Morgan said the decision to file for divorce came after years of what she described as mental and physical abuse from her husband. Mitzer had moved out of the house and into his own apartment, but the two continued to co-parent their 9-year-old twins, who were spending a few days with Morgan's sister in Florida when the attack happened. Despite the divorce, Morgan said that her ex was consistently trying to get back together with her, but she told him she had no interest in reconciling the relationship. Just days before the attack, Morgan said he called her with shocking news that he had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And so I rushed to go see him, Morgan told 48 Hours. He showed me doctor's notes and whatnot. She then invited him to stay at her house to help him cope with his diagnosis. I needed to be supportive still. It's the father of my children, she explained. But the morning of the attack, but the morning of New Year's Eve, a day before the attack, she told him that he needed to tell his parents about his diagnosis, which sparked an argument. He said, "No, absolutely not. I'm not telling anyone." And that's when I was like, "Okay, get out." Morgan recalled to 48 Hours. Mitzer left the house but continued to text her throughout the day. Morgan became fed up with his antics, so she said she lied to him about going to stay at her parents' home that night for New Year's Eve. After the attack, investigators questioned both Morgan and Mitzer at the scene. Mitzer told the police that after Morgan ordered him to leave, he did and had planned on spending the night at his apartment, but then he heard something knock on his window and said Morgan's name. Worried about her, he said he called, but there was no answer, so he drove to her house to go check on her. When asked why he didn't go to her parents' house where she said she'd be, he claimed that he drove to her home out of habit. Investigators became suspicious of Mitz's story as they looked into how he knew Morgan was at her home that night when she said otherwise, as well as the coincidental timing of his arrival just after the attack. And then things took a bizarre turn, an unexpected twist. After questioning the couple at the scene, investigators ordered search warrants for Mitz's apartment, car, and his cell phone and laptop. What they found was a slew of odd internet searches on his browser history. The searches included how to get sympathy from your ex-wife and how to change the sound of your voice. Other searches included how long before you starve to death and how long it takes to choke someone unconscious. There was one search that really stood out to investigators: cancer letter from hospital. Oh wow. Investigators then discovered that Mitzer had created a fake email account and posed as a doctor in order to send himself the cancer diagnosis letter that he had shown Morgan. And this is him right here. Wow, bro, you did all of that. All of that. That is crazy. It goes on to say he had created a bill for a doctor's office to show that he was being treated for pancreatic cancer, said Rachel Ash, the Deputy Chief Assistant District Attorney for Cherokee County. She said Mitzer did all of this in order to convince Morgan that he had pancreatic cancer and that it was in an attempt to gain sympathy from his ex-wife. Investigators said he had created a convoluted plan that the investigators in this case in our office truly believed involved a plot to unalive her and then himself, and that when he couldn't go through with the plan, he instead devised a new plan to rescue her. The investigation found that it was Mitzer who had attacked Morgan in the early hours of New Year's day. A handgun was found in the car, and zip ties that matched the ones used in the assault were found in his apartment. Investigators obtained surveillance footage showing Mitzer purchasing zip ties from a Lowe's home improvement. Where is Rodney Mitzer? Mitzer pled guilty to 14 counts related to the attack, including kidnapping, SEX battery, and aggravated assault. According to the court documents, he was sentenced to 70 years in prison, with the first 25 to be served in confinement and the remaining 45 to be on probation. Mitzer remains behind bars at the Augusta State Medical Prison in Grovetown, Georgia, according to online records from the Georgia Department of Corrections. Now, this is the end of the article. If you have not checked out this episode, please go and check that out. It is very interesting and very bizarre. A lot of the times, it is not a stranger who commits some of the most heinous crimes. It is the people that's closest to us, unfortunately. And in this case, this was a man. She had been with him for over 2 decades. The relationship was filled with its problems, its shared problems. A few which they discussed in this article. And she decided that divorce was the right path to go, not wanting to spend another decade, let alone a moment, with this man in marriage. She did the right thing in getting a divorce. He, in turn, could not accept the fact that she wanted to divorce from him, because maybe it was out of, well, you've been with me for this long. I'm not saying this is what it is. I'm just saying this could have been a possibility of the mindset that he was thinking at the time. He probably thought, she was with me for like 20 years. We have twins together. We built the family. There was definitely some significant history there. Why would she want to leave? Why would she, want to separate and things of this nature on her end? I assume that she still wanted him to be very much the father to their children. Any parent would want that. So she was willing to go with the co-parenting thing and things of that nature, but he took it a step farther, as falsifying medical documents to say that he had pancreatic cancer. The first red flag, and I believe that she was well within her right, to do so when she told him to get out. Why wouldn't you want to tell your parents, your friends, co-workers, people that you have established a line of relationship with, whether it be friends, family, etc.? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want your parents to know that their child, potentially has pancreatic cancer, and there's going to be a whole list of treatments and things that, family members need to be aware of for the medical situation. But he apparently was adamant and did not want it. That was definitely a red flag. For me, she did the right thing to tell him to get out. And things of that nature. Unbeknownst to her, apparently he was watching her, surveillancing her in some form or fashion. How that was, I don't know. I can only speculate. Him texting her throughout the day, her telling him, I'm not going to be at home. I'm going to be at my parents' house, and things like that. He didn't take it for face value, and he definitely knew that she was lying to him. He definitely tripped himself up when he was asked by investigators, how would you know? It's like that old riddle that you see on social media about the house with the garden, and it was a gardener, it was a chef, it was an assistant in this one, and the man is dead or the woman is dead, whichever, pick your preference, and who did it, blah blah blah. But how would you know? Or better yet, the one that says the man The police called the man, told the man that his wife had been murdered, and they told us to meet us, at the crime scene. And the man showed up. Well, if you didn't murder her, how would you know what a crime scene is? Um, I hope I explained that a little better, but whatever. But in this case, truly tragic of how he would do that, how he would put his kids in that position, how his kids eventually, with you know disappointment and hurt, have to explain to your children that your father was the one who hurt mommy in that sense, and literally threw any chances of him having a relationship with his children away, just because, in my opinion, he could not handle being divorced. He could not handle her wanting to separate and be you know uh, on her own, in terms of, starting her life, whether that was with someone else or just having a sense of freedom, that she didn't have to deal with some of the things that she had to put up with in the marriage. I don't know. You guys tell me. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know how you guys feel about that. Have you watched it? What was your, take on it, and how would you felt? How would have handled the situation in terms of, how she handled it, or did she do the right things, or could she did some things better? Let me know down in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share as always. And thank you so much for watching my videos. I truly do appreciate it. And with that, you guys, I will get with you in the next one.